Hi there, choristers. Welcome to lesson number 7 of your light blue ribbon training. Almost there now. Welcome to the piano. I think that when we are learning the names of notes, it's useful to have a picture of a piano in our minds. One thing you'll notice is that the piano has groups of 2 black keys and groups of 3 black keys. It's a pattern. Getting higher until we run out. So, let's start at the very bottom of the keyboard. As you remember, our musical alphabet starts with letter A, the lowest note on the piano. Let's say our musical alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You remember what happens then. You said it goes back to A. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. All right, move down, move down. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Faster. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C. Highest note on the piano. So now not only do you know all the notes in the grand staff, but you also know all the notes on the piano. Now, if I were teaching students who are much younger and much more inexperienced than you, I would give names to the group of 2 and the group of 3. Names that would help us find notes within the octave, which we'll talk about in a moment. I would call the group of 2 the little house, and the group of 3, the big house. Again, this is for students who are less experienced as you. In the little house, sometimes out in the yard, we find the dog, letter D. Remember that. Because if you remember letter D, you can use your alphabet powers to discern what comes before D, C, and what comes after D, E. Now in the big house, we've got 2 doors, right? Don't you have a front door on your house and a back door on your house? F and B. So you can quickly find all the D's on this piano just by finding your groups of 2 and the note in the center. That's a very good landmark. You can also find, using your landmarks F and B, all the Fs. All right, I'm starting to get dizzy. And all the Bs, of course. You could continue all the way down the piano. So, with those landmarks, D, F, and B, we can use our alphabet powers to fill in the gaps. You know what comes after, or rather before D. You said C. Let's sing our scale, shall we? C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. As we said in our last lesson, a scale is a bunch of steps going in one direction or another. Steps meaning one note to the next. Let's try that one more time. This time you might want to use the words that we, or rather the solfege syllables that we assign, which are do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Let's go backwards. Do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Very fine. Let's sing our alphabet letters. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Going backwards. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Very fine. So we have just sung 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 notes. The interval, that is, the distance between those 2 notes, is an octave. How many legs on an octopus? Please tell me you said 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steps in our octave. And when we get to an octave, you'll notice that we have the same note up here as we did down there. It's a C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another C. Now, you also noticed that there are black keys between most of these notes. Sometimes there's not a black key. So let's sing the scale again and notice where there are not black keys. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. There are not black keys between E, F, B, C. Let's count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are not black keys between EF and BC. Now, let's learn about half steps on the piano. We were talking about steps, but I want to be more specific now. Half steps are from one note to the very next, the very next, very next, very next, very next. So it looks like we have a half step made out of 2 white keys. And another half step made out of 2 white keys. So, all of our other distances are whole steps. We've got a half step here and another half step here. That makes a whole step. Do, re. Got a half step here, another half step there. That makes a whole step. Got a half step here. Got a half step here, whole step. Half step, that makes a whole step. Half step, that makes a whole step. And a half step. What you have just learned is the formula, the potion to make a major scale. Whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Half steps between 3, 4, and 7, 8. Let's sing it one more time because then we are going to transpose. Let's use our numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have made a major scale. That is a series of steps, half steps in between 3, 4, and 7, 8. Let's transpose. Choose another note. Let's use the note. What is it? Use your alphabet powers. You said G. Let's use G to make our major scale. Now remember, you need a whole step. There's one. Another whole step. There's a half step between 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Uh-oh. That's a half step. What can we do? So by adding this note, I've come up with the right formula. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Let's try it without that black key. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. That doesn't really sound quite right, does it? We need to create a half step between 7 and 8. Let's try that using our numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We preserved our half step between 3, 4, 7, 8. Let's choose one more note. Let's build a major scale on this key, which you know, ding, is F. Well, let's see, we need a half step between 3 and 4. There's another whole step, and there's a half step between 7 and 8. Let's try it out by singing our numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Aside from being too high for me, sounds pretty good. I'm going to sing it down an octave. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pretty good. Bonus question. let's build a major scale starting on this note. That's the easiest note we ever learned. Ding, it's D. D is the doggy with the 2 black ears. Oh, it's such a good one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have all whole steps except between 3, 4, 7, 8. So you learned a lot of stuff today as part of our lesson 7 of our light blue ribbon training. You learned all the notes on the piano using your landmarks, D, F, and B, in combination with your alphabet powers. We learned that a scale is a series of steps for our purposes that separates the notes of an octave right now. And in order to make a major scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, we must have half steps between 3, 4, and 7, 8. And if we use that formula, we can build a major scale on any key. Good work. See you soon.